I've had this video lingering for a while, and why not do it today? So I was sitting in my little makeshift pool in the backyard, and one day, and I was looking at all these reflections, and it had me thinking. And it was a theory that I'd kind of pondered a while ago, and then it lay dormant, and it got fired back up again while I was splashing around because I love looking at the reflections. I love looking at all the things water can do and show us the patterns, the waves in several different methods, that what looks like electricity, the interconnectedness of it, and how light shines through it, can form a star, can form all these different things. So I wanted to propose a theory that I've been thinking about for a long time, actually, since pretty much The Fountain came out. And I believe that was 2004 or 2008, 6, one of those. But The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky, incredible movie. And the theory kind of incorporates that. So basically, I'll state it now. And my theory is that what if what we are being told is outer space? All the pictures of NASA, all the pictures we've seen from NASA, what if all they're doing is basically capturing with macro photography, micro photography, different interactions between liquids and other states of water and chemicals, chemical reactions? They're categorizing it, they're cataloging it, they're taking really high-def pictures of these different interactions, and they're passing it off for what is above us. And since they can pretty much tell us anything they want, they can do all these kind of things. They can make up math to basically solve anything or explain anything. Water follows an amazing amount of principles. It follows a brilliant amount of principles. It can carry electricity. It can do everything. It can store memory, people say. It can heal. It can do everything. So who's to say that, I mean, when you dip chemicals in it, every single chemical has a different reaction with water too, a unique and different reaction at different states, freezing it, etc. And this is all done right now. This whole video right here, everything you've seen so far, is just a GoPro picture. Me putting a GoPro into the GoPro 4 into the water. And look at those different things in the background. You can even see the wisps. You can see spirals. You can see the inner parts of spirals, which kind of look like black holes if photographed the right way. You can see different things like that look like emanations from stars, pulsars, different interstellar mediums connecting things, different planets. Look at the black holes. Look at those black holes that just spin. Capture one picture of that. Look at them, the vortexes, the hurricanes, the spirals, everywhere. This is just me in some pool water. And it just literally hose water from the day. Look at all those. Look at all the different things you could stop motion and capture. And so I'm going to play for you in a second. There's a little clip from a behind the scenes for The Fountain where they talk about how they developed the star photography, all the planetary photography. And then if you've seen that movie, it all looks amazingly real and awesome, according to NASA. But again, I'm just proposing that what if they just pulled a fast one on all of us, and all the imagery that they're seeking and getting is really just things found in water. Or you could say maybe they are capturing those images, and water and space are very similar, which I could also go for. The firmament, the waters above. If there's stuff there and that's where they're observing these things, then there's just a huge ocean above us of some celestial craziness. Who knows?
The idea with space was to create an environment that was created entirely without CG, and using practical plates and practical elements to build space, star field, the nebula, the supernova, all of these elements. And what we did is we worked with a man by the name of Peter Parks, who is a macro photographer. And what he did was set up little chemical reactions and different things like that inside Petri dishes. And so we got in real close to that and shot that stuff, and then took that raw footage and composited it together to create the look for outer space. I think one of the things Darren really likes about the whole Peter Parks approach to outer space is that, you know, whatever is going on in outer space and the nebula and stuff that we don't actually know because we haven't been there, whatever it is, it still is subservient to the same laws of physics that exist in Peter's Petri dishes. So the way the motions flow, the way the liquids flow into each other and react with one another is still part of the same universe as what's going on out there.
Having a spherical, clear spaceship, there's no reason why that's impossible or wrong. In fact, it's totally sensible in many, many ways, but you've never seen it before. And that's because spaceships don't need to, in outer space, you don't need to be shaped like a bullet. You need to be shaped like a bullet if you're going in and out of an atmosphere.
Every space movie you've seen all through time, there's similarities to the looks of the spaceships, to the looks of what the doors that open and close in the airlocks in a spaceship look like too. And part of this is because, you know, one concept artist is drawing on the work of the previous and the work of the science fiction and the movies they've seen, and it's an evolution. And it's rare for people to be asked to totally reinvent something. And it's actually hard for the human mind to, like, erase everything you know and invent something. So what happened by going this completely other method is we had science be part on our side to just sort of throw in some imagery and some ideas that we kind of didn't have complete control over, and that gave us imagery that we wouldn't probably even have thought of making.
They hit on a lot of great points very subtly, and especially the fact that if this could be created in a petri dish, this imagery and then just layers, that could have been done a long time ago, and Hollywood was. And so to think that, you know, really all of these concepts are just building off of artists' conception, and artists' conception, like they said, they changed and found, and they changed the ship to a circle, and who's to say it isn't? And our minds wrapping our heads around things is very tough when there's a whole new avenues out there that are broken from, and we've been propagandized to stay in such a mental box. And we have, especially when you consider the propaganda that is around today and the decisions people make based on it. You know, and they trust these same people that lie about everything every day forever and are paid out by evil people. They trust these people to still agree with how the universe is structured. Something totally sacred, the most sacred topic of our human existence, like what happens in the afterlife. Those two questions, and God, 3, are just astounding things that you can't mess with. And of course they can't. But you can't mess with the human's desire to discover the truth about it. And so here's that artist that they mentioned, and this is some of his work, and these things are incredible. And these are all different things that you kind of see in movies. And, you know, this is an independent guy with a micro photography lens, you know, incredible camera work, amazing stuff here. And they've figured out mathematical formulas to make these programs be able to graphically create a lot of these things and to be able to alter them and tweak the different dimensions and the characteristics and the specifications. They've done all this stuff. So pretty much anyone at home and with a certain amount of technology and skill and creativity can create these things, can create this imagery. And imagine doing microphotography with different chemicals and not a petri dish, but in like a glass jar, a black room with amazing light, the world's best cameras capturing these things in full dimensions. So they have incredible detail. They can be zoomed in like the Hubble shots, all these things. And again, remember, this is just a theory. Mine today is a theory, and everyone else's is as well. Nobody really knows the truth, so you have to take everything. And, you know, what if? So I said, why, you know, what if as above isn't, well, may not be so below? Like they said, and like everyone thinks and knows, if something's out there beyond our realm, firmament, whatever it is, beyond those stars, we may have no idea what it is. They may be showing us pictures of telescopes, and that could be accurate to some extent, but it could be total BS. It very well could be total BS, and you can't take that for granted. And one of the things that they could easily do is photograph the microcosmic world and play it off as the macrocosmic because of that thought. But what about if what is above has no conception to what is below? What if they're totally different? And that's another propaganda mind game to limit our minds. And when people, even if you've never tried it, do whatever you want, but read accounts of people on ayahuasca or DMT, those dimensions and those experiences, and even psychedelic mushrooms, if just reading the experiences of people, you can get a glimpse that there is something more. There is something way more to these dimensions. Yes, water, as far as we know, has pretty much the most magical powers, like fire. These elements are just magical, wonderful, perfect. But beyond that, we've gotten a glimpse of different sacred geometry and different visions, different beings, different architecture, different existences, different aspects of our world and our reality that are impossible to access in our realm and without these entheogens or whatever. but people see them. And things like this, are so minor on the scale. And you enter into a world where just you can't even fathom in this present state the concepts that could be out there, and that could be beyond, and that could be above us. They really may have no reflection on what is below. They could just be a progressive reality, evolving reality of the universe. And who knows? And thank you, Chris Parks and Peter Parks. That is brilliant stuff. Check them out. Support those artists. I hope they don't mind. I feel like this is just supporting them. So definitely check it out. Really amazing. I wonder how many other artists are doing that. And so this is me with that same footage at the beginning in my little pool in the backyard. And just one hue alteration effect in Adobe After Effects. I didn't change anything else. And just look at what you can get from just doing that. And this is just, again, this is so simple. What NASA and those people would have, the technology, the cameras, the everything would be astronomically better than anything I could ever produce. But just simply, you can find these forms in nature and water. And, so maybe space, it does kind of use the same properties as water, but I kind of tend to think the opposite of what people tell. And I very well kind of do think that what's out there may not, it may have more to do with electricity and the powers of electricity or something than water. It may not, whatever, but it runs the perfect disguise for making us think of what's out there, because within the properties of water, there's an infinite array of designs and potential that you can create and you can solve, because fluid dynamics, physics, all these things can kind of be solved. They can be equated. And you can make up names and words and stories for them and preach it to everyone and tell everyone to die hard believe it and shame everyone who doesn't believe it, and then people will. So how can we trust anything? Really, if anyone's learned anything over the last 2 years, how can you trust anything on TV or from anyone? Who knows? Again, just another theory of space and the universe that hopefully we can get closer to the discovery of and truth of one day, but who knows? May have to just deal with all theories in our imagination and use the infinite realm in our minds and in our souls to try and dig out what is around us in this miracle of life in the universe. Bless you all.